Welcome into what I hope is the first of many series of taking cross comics characters and implementing them into other universes. Star Wars, He-Man, My Hero Academia, Transformers, a whole variety of universes. Will take cross comics characters like the Canadian Shield, Snowdrift, uh, a bunch of our heroes and a bunch of our villains, and we'll put them into whatever universe it is, giving them new profiles, new looks for those universes. And up first, we are going with My Hero Academia as chosen by our poll on our community tab. Thank you. So My Hero Academia has, of course, a bunch of its favorites like Duco and All Might, and I'm not sure of all their names, but you know them, and a lot of you like this universe, and it's going to be interesting to see the cross comics characters in this universe. You could even call this My Hero Academia Crossverse. Up first is the one, the only Snowdrift. You might know her as the woman who was a scientist in the 50s who was assigned to an Arctic expedition to lead. And then she went out for a walk one day. A blizzard came and she was trapped under snow and ice. And she cried out to God to help. And she was put into suspended animation, making the snow and ice merge with her. And years later, she was revived by the one Rick Arrow. And then got a job in the city, was put back to somewhat of a normal life, and then finally she was found out she had been given powers over all those years over snow and ice, and then became the one known as Snowdrift. But now we are in the one, the only My Hero Academia. How does Snowdrift appear in there? In this world of My Hero Academia crossverse, Snowdrift is still known as Christy North, and she is the great granddaughter of Nancy Brown, who was secretly a hero during the 1940s and 50s, along with several other friends of hers. And her family had been doing this since that time, being heroes, that is, in secret, for the last 70 years, with whatever quirk they got. But Christy was determined that she would not do this with her quirk. Being able to make and manipulate snow and ice, since she was determined that she would go to UA High School Canadian branch. She didn't want to be a secret superhero. She wanted the fame, the fortune. Well, maybe not the fortune, but the fame. She wanted to be known. She wanted the gratitudes and thanks of people. And she wanted to become one of the most premier superheroes, Canadian superheroes. So with this, when it was time, she makes her way to the entrance exam without the knowledge of her family, for they are not really ready for the hype of superheroes in the way that they have become. They think the hero life should be on the sly. With this said, Christy passes the entrance exam and her family makes peace with her going to UA High School Canadian branch. And when time comes to pick a hero name, she calls herself Snowdrift because of her powers over snow and ice, being driven to be more than a secret warrior. So there we have it, folks. Snowdrift in My Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia Crossverse. as you can see. So now we'll be on to the next. Who will we find in the who will be the next person we find in My Hero Academia Crossverse from Cross Comics? Up next from Cross Comics, the high-flying, the bug-eyed wonder himself, Insecto. Yes, he hasn't got his book yet. Maybe you've heard about him a little. Of course you have. Maybe you haven't. But in the regular Cross Comics universe, he is a kid that wanted superpowers all his life because he was into superheroes so much, but he never got them, of course. But when he had married his new wife and they had went to St. John's, New Brunswick, and they were just about to start a new life as a married couple. They saw somebody in danger in a fire, and the only way to rescue them was like by either supernatural means or somebody that could fly. And at that instant, God, with a prayer, God transformed him into, that is Jack McAdders, into the bug-eyed wonder himself, Insecto. But here in the My Hero Academia Crossverse, it goes a little different. In My Hero Academia Crossverse, Jack, almost from birth, Jack was fascinated by the heroes he saw all around. He couldn't wait for his quirk to kick in and begin to master it even more before he would attend the UA High School Canadian branch. Unfortunately for him, he was a late bloomer, but he started to learn all he could about heroes and their powers and how to use them, so he would know how to use his when they kicked in and become the best with his power set, maybe even the best in the world. When Jack finally realized his quirk had kicked in, he was disappointed because all it did was allow him to talk to insects. Soon he began to see this as a blessing, as he had something no other would. That would be being info from the fly on the wall in rooms, or any other insect, of course, or near an ant or something that was nearby. No, the insect and insects were almost everywhere. He had the greatest information network of all time. Now all he had to do was find a way to be able to perform in battle. With this, he slowly put together a tech suit that would give him insect-like abilities. So when the time came, he was more than ready for the entrance exam for the Canadian branch of UA High School. But when it came to his name selection time, he had his, and he wanted to be called Insecto. So this is the one, the only, the Insecto from Cross My Hero Academia Crossverse. Very colorful, very look is I'd say different with the armor and all that. Hopefully you enjoy this. This is 2 characters down. We actually have 2 to go, which is good. I hope you are enjoying this series. So up next, who do we have? We have to go to the darker side of life. It's a villain. Okay, so absorbed in the real Cross Comics universe, his name is Larson, and at an early age he was abandoned by his parents in a park, and he was then taken in by street people who taught him to steal, cheat, lie, and they were able to teach him the ways of the rails. So he did a lot of traveling by rails, and then one day in his early 20s, he ended up saving a man's life, uh, who then got him a job as a janitor at a nuclear power plant. And untold to him and others, a leak had sprung in the plant, and Larson got affected by the leak and was given ended up with powers to absorb many different versions of energy, and thus it allowed, and then he was able to redirect it out in several different ways, which one, when he was first learned, he ended up killing somebody, and didn't want to pay for his unintended crime, so he came in conflict with the Canadian Shield and has been on the loose ever since. But you don't want to hear about this one. You want to hear about the one from the Cross Comics combined with My Hero Academia Cross Verse. So we will begin this tale of Absorb for that now. The Winters were finally glad when they had a child. They named him Larson, after his grandfather. When Larson's quirk kicked in, he began to absorb all the energy from various forms around him, and the energy would come out of him in destructive ways, taking out walls, small buildings, whatever was around him, almost whatever was could be around him, and whatever way he was facing. So at this, his parents decided that they would move out to the middle of nowhere and live off the land, so there would be no energy to absorb, and then he would not be able to destroy anything. This life took a toll on his parents, so when he was old enough to take care of himself, they left him one day, never to return. Larson spent the next few years alone, finally wanting some human connection. He leaves his place of living and ends up wandering into a small town and sucking up all the energy in the town and destroying parts of the town in his wake. With all this, the people in town realize it's him and cause him to be chased out of town. And this happens again and again till he comes to a bigger town and catches the notice of small-time pro heroes. They engage him, treating him as a villain. He makes short work of them and this brings him to the attention to even higher level pro heroes who do manage to capture him. While on the way to his incarceration, Larson is stolen from police custody by a group of secret villains trying to assemble a powerful quirk holders. Once in a safe place, they convince Larson to join them. He agrees, and with having been treated so poorly because of being treated so poorly by society. With this, they give him a suit that will help him control his powers better, and he takes the code name Absorb due to his powers. Okay, so we finally have our villain. We have 3 heroes. Oh no, 2 heroes. We have 1 left. We're almost done. We know who's next. The one you've probably all been waiting for. The one, the only, the Canadian Shield. But of course, take again a nice little gander here at Absorb. I hope you enjoy. So up next, of course, like I said, is the Canadian Shield. Awesome. Here we go. Of course, you all probably here on Cross Comics channel know the wonderful awesomeness that is the Canadian Shield, his history. A Native American born in the early 1800s, transported through time to our present, given a suit from the near future. Well, maybe not so near, 50, 20, 50 years down the road, he's given a suit from that time that gives him incredible powers. The suit's transported through time. He's told to go south. He puts it on. He learns he has the most incredible of powers: flight, super strength, super invulnerability, all thanks to this suit. And he learns to use it over time. But again, as I said with Absorb, you're not here for what happened in the main cross universe for the Canadian Shield. You are here for the Canadian Shield of My Hero Academia Crossverse. So, you're here for it. Here it is, the Canadian Shield in My Hero Academia Crossverse. Okay, so Matthew Cougar had a long heritage of heroes in his bloodline. In fact, one of his relatives was the first to get a quirk in Canada and become a hero. And he was the man like Cougar. And ever since, they had all been heroes up to his father and mother. And they were the all Canadian and Canadian wonder. But Matthew had no quirk. So he felt ashamed of this. But his father and mother assured him, "You do not need to be need powers to be a hero. All you needed to do was treat others good." Soon, the Canadian branch of UA High School would be accepting new applicants, and he so wanted to be among them. But with no quirk, he had no chance of getting in. And then he and then he had a thought that maybe David Shields, the scientist extraordinaire, could help him. And with his family connections, he thought he might be able to get in contact with him. And he was. And that's what he would help him do. Would make a suit to give him power, maybe even similar to the powerful All Might that he had heard of, that had worked in the U.S. so long ago. So when he finally gets in contact with David Shields, David agrees. And before the entrance exam to the Canadian branch of UA High School, he gets the suit. And although not very much experience with it, he enters the exam and secures a spot. Getting to choose his name, he comes up with Canadian Shield due to his heritage and the man who helped create the suit. So there we have it, the Canadian Shield in My Hero Academia Crossverse. These are some of the stories of heroes there. So there we go. One last look at the Canadian Shield from My Hero Academia Crossverse. This was a very fun project to do. So, three heroes, one villain, four characters in all. I hope you really enjoyed this. I had fun doing it, I know, like I said. So, yes, there we have it. The Canadian Shield from in My Hero Academia, and some background. So, I guess we'll just say some final thoughts. Okay, so there we have it. The first four characters to be put in My Hero Academia, the Crossverse. The first four characters from Cross Comics in My Hero Academia: Snowdrift, Canadian Shield, Absorb, and Insecto. What do you all think? If you want another one of this, let's get this video up to 25 likes. And then be sure to check out the poll, the link to the poll here. And of course, for our next insertion of Cross Comics characters into some universe. And again, like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing it very much. Not sure what to say at this point, but thanks for watching. Bye for now. God bless. Love y'all. Have a great and wonderful day.